Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chalk Talk here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are breaking down tape from the Steelers' win over the Vikings in Dublin, Ireland. Coming to you a little bit later in the week. Obviously dealing with the transatlantic flight. Couldn't even watch the tape over in Ireland because I had no access to NFL Pro overseas. So coming to you a little bit later, but have had an opportunity to review the tape a little bit more and also talk with the players, which is something that doesn't always happen because I'm usually trying to do Chalk Talk right after, like the day after. But this actually gave me an opportunity to talk with a couple of the players about some of the plays that I had questions about and got some really good explanations, especially, and we'll get into the blown coverage on the big Jordan Addison play. So we'll get into that, but wanted to really highlight, because one of the big things about this defense, for the first couple of weeks was communication issues. And so I really wanted to highlight that. I also wanted to highlight what the Steelers are doing in terms of pass rush to whether it's a regular four-man rush or they're blitzing, like what they are doing to make the most of it, to get to the quarterback. It doesn't always have to be a blitz. So what are different things that they're doing? And so we got some good examples with this, and only 3 plays, but again, we're taking a very small sample size to kind of get a larger scale of what they are doing. So here with this first play, this is a really, really good example of how communication is improving. What the Steelers are doing here is they are in cover 2 man, which is not very, very frequent whatsoever. So actually, I'm going to probably just do like you got like your 2 deep halves here. And so, this, player's getting here, this player's getting here. And then it is man across the board the rest of the way. So the way this is lined up right now is that this is man, and this is man right here, okay? Now, you've still got 2 other eligibles here. Patrick Queen would be responsible for the running back, and Peyton Wilson would be responsible for the tight end here, okay? So that is what the Steelers are running. They are running cover 2 man. This is not frequently used in the NFL nowadays, and actually the Steelers are using it like just under 7% of the time, and that's second in the NFL in terms of usage. Like, that just goes to show you like how much it's just not used in the NFL. But it ends up working out here. But the one thing that can always confuse defenses is whenever there's motion here. And so Wentz moves the running back in motion, and he jets over in this direction. Now, as soon as this happens, you can see Patrick Queen right here. He is yelling at Peyton Wilson, "You got to pick him up. You got to pick him up. He's coming to your side. You got to pick him up." And Wilson immediately starts moving. He responds. He acknowledges what Queen's doing, and so now Queen knows, okay, if this running back's coming over here, now, Peyton, you've got the running back, and then I'm going to go get the tight end. Like, that's from Queen's perspective here. So that's what they're doing. That's exactly what happens. Peyton Wilson, eyes on the running back, eyes on the running back, and he's staying right there in front of him. Patrick Queen, he's coming down, he's looking at the tight end, and he's staying right there in front of him. Okay, so there are your 2 checkdowns. They're covered. Now, what are we looking at on the back end here? We got man coverage here. Jalen Ramsey's got this guy. And I believe, is that Eccles? That's Eccles right there in the middle, taking away Jordan Addison. And when you get to this point right here where you look at Carson Wentz, his back foot hits, he's obviously looking in this direction. That's his number 1. He's not open. Pierre's got inside leverage on him, taking away that middle. And so now Wentz is going over here. Okay, he's looking right here. Okay, that's covered up. You got Ramsey right here on Jefferson. That's covered up. And then you've got Queen right there on the tight end. You've got Wilson. That's the furthest one, but that's what you want to do. You want to keep that distance, especially because it's 3rd and long. You don't want to get right up on him and then have this be completed. He makes Wilson miss, and he's able to get upfield and get the first down. So you want to keep the guy in front of you. This is great stuff here. Wentz feels the pressure, gets flushed out. Herbig gets him. Perfectly executed. And it's perfectly executed because of this ability to communicate right before the snap, while a guy is moving in a jet motion, to communicate, hey, you get that guy, I'll take your guy, and then we've got this locked up. Perfectly done, perfectly executed communication to a T Well done here. Leads to a sack on third down. Great stuff from the defense there. And this is becoming more frequent. This is looking back with New England. This was this game, and this game they were the best at it, especially on these third downs. They dialed up some stuff on third down. But then again, here you go. When I say dial up stuff on third down, like you can dial stuff up without having to be this exotic blitz. This is not an exotic blitz here. This is a 4-man rush. They're not rushing 5 guys. They're rushing 4. The only thing is, you've got Watt attacking the outside shoulder here. He's not trying to bend around because he almost has to anticipate the tight end to chip here, which he kind of does. Actually, there's no kind of. He does. The tight end chips Watt inside to help the tackle, which can possibly give the quarterback an out here. But one great thing that the Steelers are doing here is Benton is coming in and he's crashing hard in while Hayward stunts around him. And now Herbig is able to take on the left tackle and swing around to the outside. And so what Benton does so well here is that he engages with the right guard there, but then he really crashes in and takes as many bodies with him as he possibly can. This is also terrible pass protection here, but Hayward does a good job of moving laterally, shedding off of that block. Now, you'd like to see this contained right here by Watt, but again, he gets chipped to the inside, so there's not really much you can do there. But that's when it's helpful to have a guy like Nick Herbig here on this side who can win with speed to the outside. And then even though he wouldn't necessarily have gotten there right away, that speed he's able to get. He's able to chase down Wentz from behind. Now, don't be surprised. And I'm not pointing this, it's not like I'm pointing this out and the NFL is going to see it. And they would have already pointed it out. And I won't be surprised if we hear on Saturday that Nick Herbig was fined. Because this right here, from what I understand in my definition, is a hip drop tackle where you latch on and then you leave your feet and then go into like a sitting position and to bring the guy down with all your weight. That is severely injured players, and that, in my opinion, is a hip drop tackle. So would not surprise me if Herbig ends up getting a fine on Saturday. But either way, play done, play well executed, and that's that. Let's go to the next one here. This right here is just a look at a pass rush here. So this is what the Vikings are doing. They're going to chip with Hawkinson here. He's going to chip, and then he's going to go out. This guy's responsible, and the guard over here is also responsible. They are chipping and then double teaming 3 guys. So pretty much what they're doing here is they are shifting protection to the right. So that is what they're doing. They're doubling here. This is here, and then at this point, it is just. That is your protection from the Vikings. They're like, we will take one-on-ones here, over here. We will take that all day long as we make sure that number 90 does not ruin anything. So when that happens, and teams have been doing this season, they have been like blocking with a chip or double teaming with a chip. And you can see it right here. I mean, look, you got Hawkinson. Now, that's not that much. He's got to be responsible for Wilson here as well. But he's at least, doing something to disrupt Watt's route, like to the quarterback or his path to the quarterback. And you've got 2 guys responsible. This is straight up double team. There's no question about that. Now, Benton does a great job here of getting to the inside and just wins right away. So that's what you want to see. So, okay, if the Vikings are going to do this, if they're really going to chip here and then double team Watt, then somebody here, one of these guys, has got to win. Somebody's got to. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, because there's so much focus about, like, when are they going to move TJ around more? When are they going to do it? No. Do this. If teams are going to dedicate that much manpower to blocking TJ Watt, do different things and challenge these guys to win their blocks. It's one-on-one here. You got to win. And Benton does a great job. Let's look at 95. Does a great job. Gets, just immediately gets around him. But also, one thing that I'm liking here is, okay, first off, you got Patrick Queen, an inside linebacker, lined up outside of the edge rusher. So that's a little bit of a different look. And he's just coming around the edge, and that's just going to be the running back responsible for him. Now, you also have Cam Hayward going to the outside, and then Nick Herbig is going to stunt around to this side. So it's not like they're just saying, hey, 95, you got to win. Hey, 97, you got to win. Hey, 51, you get what I'm saying? It's not like they're just saying, hey, go win if they're gonna double team TJ. They're doing different things. They are also creating these stunts on the opposite of Watt. And a lot of guys end up winning with this. Now, again, the Vikings were beat up on their offensive line, missing, I think, at least two starters, if not three. So, yes, it's not a great offensive line that they're facing, but this is still a great job by Benton of winning his block, Herbig getting around and winning his block, and then Queen also not just winning his block, but then really getting held right here. And then you can see that this referee ends up throwing a flag based off of that. So even draws a flag just in case they didn't actually get there. But, Benton does a good job of getting off of his block, and he was even kind of held, still gets there, and Herbig's there too, and then they end up getting the sack. So great stuff in terms of what we're seeing from a pass rush. Yes, this is a blitz. Anytime you bring more than 4, it is officially a blitz. So nice blitz design here, especially if hey, we anticipate protection is being shifted over to TJ's side. It almost doesn't matter. So what are we going to do? If they're really going to shift protection, even if we have more guys over here than we have over here, which is what they have, this is also a really good look here. Really good look because you have inside linebackers over here on each side outside of the edge rusher. This is also a pretty good, complicated look too. But even with the tight end over here, they're shifting protection to this side. If you're going to do that, then come up with some crazier stuff on this side. And that's exactly what they did. And it produced a really good play. All right, let's break this down really quick, this blown coverage. So this is how it was explained to me by 2 different players. 2. What the Steelers are actually running here is cover 2 zone. Okay, so you got the 2 deep zones here. Terrible circle there. 2 deep zones over here. And then you are literally just running 5 zones underneath. Okay? These are not the greatest circles, whatever. Okay. 5 zones underneath. This is straight up cover 2. Cover 2 zone. Now, let's look at traditionally the way this would be run. Just straight up cover 2. This guy here, this safety there, this safety stays right there. Okay? This corner would come down into this zone. This nickel would drop here. This linebacker would drop here. This linebacker drop here. This corner drop here. That is your typical straight up standard cover 2 zone. Okay? Very, very important to remember when we're talking about Darius Slay here. Okay? Now, let's back all that up. What the Steelers called here is cover 2 with a buzz defender, which means that this guy right here, this safety, is not dropping back into a deep half like he normally does. What he's going to do is buzz down into this zone. Meanwhile, the corner is going to drop back and become that deep half defender. Then the nickel is going to come here. The linebacker is going to come here. This linebacker is going to come here. And this corner is going to come here. That is how the play is designed. That is how this call is designed. Okay? There are different ways to execute cover 2 zone. You can use a buzz defender. You can do straight up. You can do Tampa 2. You can do non-traditional Tampa 2. Whatever it is, this is what the call is. Now, knowing all of that, watch what Chuck Clark does, Darius Slay does, and Deshaun Elliott do. Okay? You have two guys go to the curl flat here. Okay? So let's get to right here and see. Okay. Let's actually do it this way. Deep halves here. Then I'm just going to draw these circles right here. There we go. You have two guys in this zone. That's not good. Chuck Clark is pretty much in this zone right here. He's just a little deeper, which you understand. This is about keeping everything in front of you. Peyton Wilson's back here, Queen's here, and Pierre's there. So somebody, one of these guys right here, did not go back into this zone, and it is Slay. Slay is the guy who was supposed to go back. But here's a really important thing to know, and this is one of the things that we're going to have to see how it plays out. Notice that none of these defenders are Jalen Ramsey. And notice how none of these defenders are Brandon Echols. Jalen Ramsey is your primary nickel, and Brandon Echols is your second nickel. And the nickel back, now I'm not saying this is Elliott's job here, but the nickel is typically, in this defense, the primary communicator for the secondary, which Jalen Ramsey has been doing. Jalen Ramsey is the primary communicator for the secondary. And they had Deshaun Elliott as the nickel in this. They were playing big nickel. They didn't want to play big nickel here. They would not have normally played big nickel, but they're kind of running out of options because Jalen Ramsey's injured, Brandon Echols is injured. Like, you're running out of options. You have to do something here. And so it does not get communicated. This is cover 2 buzz. This is not straight up cover 2. So that's why, obviously, Slay is thinking, and maybe this is some sort of check. This is the part that I don't know, because when players explain things to me, they're not going to sit there and break every little thing down, but they are going to tell me, yeah, this is what was called, this is what happened, this is why it didn't work, or this is why it did work, whatever it is. So obviously Slay is thinking this is straight up cover 2, so he's going to the curl flat. But he doesn't know that. It wasn't communicated to him, or if it was communicated to him, he didn't understand it. Chuck Clark knows to buzz, and so that's what he's doing. Deshaun Elliott is also thinking that this is buzz, so he knows he needs to go out here. So that's why nobody goes back into this deep half over here. So that was the breakdown. And that's something to watch going forward, is if Jalen Ramsey does in fact miss multiple games. Doesn't just miss the game against the Browns, but if he misses the game against the Browns, he's most likely going to miss the game against the Bengals because that's on a short week. Maybe he's back in time for after the mini bye when they play, I believe it's the Packers, after that on Sunday Night Football. Maybe he'll be back for that. I don't know. But if we're talking multiple games with Jalen Ramsey being out, and he's the primary communicator for the secondary, not the defense, because Queen is the primary communicator for the entire defense. If Ramsey is that primary guy, then they've got to get that figured out. Like, they got to have a plan in place to make sure that this kind of stuff does not happen. Now, Terrell Austin did say, he talked about, I was on the South Side today, I'm recording this Wednesday. He did say today that, I'm taking responsibility for that because I should have just called something very, very simple, very, very basic, not anything that was too complicated, that needed to be communicated or anything like that, because the name of the game at this point was keep everything in front of you. Don't let anything get back here. Keep it all in front of you. That's what you need to be doing. And obviously, when you call something like this, where you do something different, where you have a buzz defender or whatever it is, you run the risk where if it's not communicated properly, that this guy can get right behind you. And that's exactly what happened. They gave up an 81-yarder, and kudos to this guy right here for running him down. I mean, look, when he catches this ball, he's at the 47, and yeah, Wilson's not that far behind him, but Wilson just, that's impressive. And not only is it seriously impressive, but he does it and keeps him in bounds. Because that keeps the clock running. That's what's even more impressive about the entire play. Is not just the fact that he chased down a wide receiver, but the fact that he chased him down and kept him in bounds. Now, at that point, I don't think Peyton Wilson's trying, I got to keep him in bounds. At that point, it's don't let him get in the end zone. So, anyway, but that was the breakdown, why it broke down, and something to watch for going forward. So the whole thing about Mike Tomlin saying we were leaking in the secondary, it's 100% true. That's not just BS he's making up at the podium where you're just like, oh, Mike Tomlin's making excuses for the team. No, that's not the case. It was real. So anyway, that's a really, really long video for 3 plays, but I wanted to kind of explain this stuff to you so you have a better understanding of what they're doing well, why they're doing it better, seeing that the communication is improving, and when there are communication issues, it is mainly because of attrition now, not because like they don't know how to communicate, but because the guys who are their normal communicators aren't on the field because they're injured. So better context for understanding what's going on Sundays. So we'll be back with another Chalk Talk here. Like I'm going to do another one from this game. It's going to be on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be coming here maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple days, whatever it is. But either way, I will have another Chalk Talk on this game from the offensive side because it is some really cool things on the offensive side that I really want to address, both in the run game and in the pass game. So we'll look at that. But definitely wanted to get to this defensive stuff because there is reason to be optimistic about what this defense is doing moving forward. So anyway, catch you guys on the flippity flip. We will see you later.